Welcome everybody, this is Christian from Sterling Knight Gamers, and I'm excited to tell you about the latest Star Wars Armada expansion, Wave 7, which includes Admiral Thrawn and Admiral Radek, who was featured in Star Wars Rogue One. Admiral Thrawn comes in the new Crimea, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that expansion pack, which includes a alternate art style for an Imperial Star Destroyer as well as 2 Mandalorian fighters. However, it's not exactly the same as the previous Star Destroyers that was shown before. It has slightly different ship cards that allow you to customize your Imperial fleet in 2 different ways. One is the Imperial Star Destroyer Kuat refit. This Imperial Star Destroyer is going to have a 3 black die, very similar to the Imperial 1 Star Destroyer, but does allow to have a defensive refit slot as well as a ordnance weapon upgrade. So this is something that you're going to want to have up close and personal and bring it to the enemy ship, maybe putting on a tractor beam, be able to keep those ships in close. It only has a squadron value of 2, which is half of the other Imperial Star Destroyer types, so this is one that you definitely don't want to use as a carry. The next one is the Imperial Star Destroyer Kaimun 1 refit, which has a squadron value of 3, but it does have 5 red die instead of the 4 red die and 4 blue die. So it's a little bit more long range focus, and like the Liberty MC80, it has 2 turbo laser upgrade slots. So you can go ahead and maybe put an additional spinal armament and maybe XX9s, which are used so very effectively by the Liberty. It doesn't allow a defensive upgrade slot, but it does allow the fleet command upgrade, which came with the Pleta ship expansion. So you'll be able to give a fleet-wide command from this ship. So it's very interesting. It's a shame it doesn't have defensive upgrade slot, but you could always use the Minister Tula upgrade card in order to be able to put ECMs or some other defensive retrofit upgrade onto it for only an additional 3 points. However, I would be amiss if I didn't talk about the man of the hour, Grand Admiral Thrawn. He's definitely someone that many of us in Armada have been anticipating and waiting for ever since this game was announced. Let's just go ahead and read his card right now. After deploying fleets, place 3 face-down command dials on this card. At the start of each ship phase, you may reveal and discard one of those dials. If you do, until the end of the round, before each friendly ship activates, it gains 1 additional dial matching that discard dial. So what essentially this allows you to plan ahead and utilize that command whenever you want for those 3 different times. So 3 out of the 6 turns in Armada, you definitely wouldn't need this in your first one because you've already set the commands. But if you want to have a squadron activate and you want every ship to be able to do that, or a concentrate fire, or if you need to change your navigation or you want repairs to go through, you can send a fleet-wide command to all the ships that need it. If they don't need it, they can keep their original command. So this is definitely really interesting. It doesn't replace the first one. It gains 1 additional dial matching the discarded dial. So that means you still will have to do the original order next turn. Now, unless I'm interpreting that you get to do both of the commands, but I'm not certain of that. We'll see how it's worded in the FAQ, but the way I'm reading it, it just allows you to have this extra command that you can then utilize whenever you want 3 different times. 2 Mandalorian fighters with a squadron hull value of 7, so a pretty heavy hitting squadron is also going to be included in this Crimea pack. It looks like it's rogue by the symbols on the picture, but it's impossible to determine what its attack strength is. But either way, a rogue ship with 7 hull value is pretty useful. There's also going to be a handful of new upgrade cards that are associated with this ship, and besides the new ship cards, I would expect additional title ones. And it looks like Darth Vader is also going to be an officer, and it is taking the weapons team and offensive upgrade slot, which is the same one for a boarding party. So this is probably going to be the version of the Rogue One scene that you get to send Vader onto an enemy ship and tear up a bunch of guys. And we'll see once more details come out what exactly it'll do. It's hard to read exactly what it says, but it looks like it says something about removing either a officer or maybe even an admiral upgrade to the enemy ship, which would be pretty cool to be able to go on board and assassinate either an admiral or a crucial officer, particularly since it looks like this upgrade's only 3 points. The next ship in this wave is going to be the MC-75 Cruiser, which is another Mon Calamari ship, the ship that was featured in Rogue One that was being commanded by Admiral Raddus. He's going to be the new admiral that comes with this pack. The ship is actually very similar to an assault frigate in which it has 3 red die but 2 blue die instead of just a 1, 3 shields on the side and 4 shields on the front. However, the front is a little bit more hard hitting than the assault frigate with 2 blue and 3 black. So while an assault frigate would be vulnerable for a ship parking in front of it, this one will be able to blast its way through. Depending if it has gunnery team slot available or not, it could actually be a good ship that would fit into any rebel Admiral Akbar fleet as well, by having strong side arcs that could be supplemented with those additional red die. Admiral Raddus is a particularly interesting admiral. I'm not exactly sure how much play he'll get, but it's definitely a unique power. He's 26 points, and before deploying a fleet, you can set aside 1 friendly ship. And at the start of any round, you may deploy that ship at distance 1 of a friendly ship. And that ship cannot be deployed overlapping, and it can't be the first one to activate that round. This is very similar to Hyperspace Assault, where you set 1 ship aside, but Hyperspace Assault allows you to bring in 3 squadrons as well, but it has to be a small or medium ship. In a bizarre form of tactics, you could jump in a large Mon Calamari cruiser just to jump in with backup right when you need it. By using this admiral ability, you could set aside a ship that is particularly damaging at close range and is very dangerous, like an MC-30 torpedo frigate, or maybe a hammerhead corvette with Galen's honor. And that way, when you have a ship get close to it, you can go ahead and jump it in at an ideal positioning so that you'll either be able to ram it with Galen's honor or be able to double arc it and unload those torpedoes onto this unsuspecting ship. However, that's relatively expensive upgrade in order to set one of your ships aside and not being able to use it earlier on. So we'll just have to see how the meta works out for this. The title for this expansion that is at least being provided is the Profundity, which was the ship featured in Rogue One. For 7 points, before deploying fleets, you may set aside 1 small ship with a command value of 1. At the start of this round, you may deploy the set aside ship at distance 1. You may unequip one of your officer cards and equip it to them if available. This is actually a pretty interesting tactic where you could have this ship hold either a hammerhead corvette or a CR-90, since they're both small and have a command value of 1. When you need it, you can go ahead and, just like they did in Rogue One, release it and have it enter the battlefield that way. This would be a great use of Galen's honor, where when you're about to ram an enemy vessel, you could release Galen's honor, set it in front of your ship so that the enemy ship rams into that one instead, and then you can have Galen's honor, when it activates, go ahead and ram and cause a second critical. Or you could maybe have just a regular CR-90 double arc and then move out of the way with an officer that you get to utilize on both ships. It will be interesting using this and Admiral Radek and Hyperspace Assault, and you may end up having hardly any ships on the board when you first start out, but being able to bring them in as you want them. You just gotta make sure this ship doesn't blow up before you can deploy it. Overall, I'm excited about this Wave 7 expansion, both the addition of Admiral Thrawn, different variations of the Imperial Star Destroyer, and a new MC-75 Star Cruiser. I am particularly excited about. Admiral Radis, I'm not that sure how much I'm going to use him, but with the MC-75 Star Cruiser and its strong side arcs, if it does allow a weapons team slot and therefore have a gunnery team, this would be a great additional ship that could be used in a Akbar fleet that could float alongside a MC-80 Home 1 or a Rebel assault frigate. We'll just have to see how many points this is and what upgrades it can go to see if it's a great addition for Akbar or not. Radis, we'll just have to see how it goes, but I'm definitely very excited to both play as and play against Admiral Thrawn. That's all, and what do you think about this new expansion, and what would you like to see next? Bye.